So now onwards we will start configuring the devices, building up a network. Up till now we were only just setting up the router, as in like basic configuration we did, uh, changing the host name, changing the enable password, enable secret. We were only doing this thing. So now we basically will be building up a network. So to build up a network, we will require one router because of the setup. I mean, we'll be working on the network. I'm using one switch also to connect all the other devices with each other, and that will be like we'll be calling it in one broadcast domain. So you can select, I mean, packet tracer is basic. I guess you can take it out from the FTP server. You can also take it from me. Online is also available. You can install it, very simple to install, and you can install it on any machine. So router, you can select it from this section. Basic routers 1841 to all the way आगे तक की series है. You can use any of the routers. I would suggest you to basically work on 1841 only, because it will run all the configurations whatsoever up till now. Don't jump onto any other bigger routers. They won't do anything great, as in like because the other routers are specifically for specific task. Usually some routers are specifically meant for certain kind of task, but here we are running overall networking, right? As CCNA, we are not going for a specific particular kind of an purpose. Some routers are specialist in terms of the security part. Some routers are basically specialist in the voice kind of traffic. So those are not our concern. Our concern is that we should be able to run all kind of configuration part whatsoever. We are supposed to do it on the routing and switching, as far as CCNA routing and switching is. So 1841 is a basic router, and हम लोग का काम सारा चल जाएगा. Then in the switches also you have 2950 basic L2 switch, good enough to do whatever we are required. Then there is 3560, which is when we will be requiring a layer 3 switch. On that time we will be doing layer 3 switch. So this is a layer 3 switch. As an end host, we have computers, servers. I don't think any other device will be required. In case if you want to use laptop, you can use laptop as well. Then for the connection purpose, we have this cable will be like choosing the connection automatically. Don't go by this. You always like select what cable you want to use. Like for example, this is a copper straight, this is crossover. We will also be requiring a serial cable. So when we'll reach to that level, I'll explain you that. So only these red colors one and these two, because these are fiber, and so you need a special ports, as in for those particular routers. We will be working on, and this one is a console, blue color one is a console. You yourself saw in the practical sessions previously the blue color cable downstairs, which was having so that was also console cable. As this is a simulator, we don't require console cable and connect PC with it. We simply go and tap and take a CLI, and we get the CLI. But the real device, you need a specific computer to basically get the CLI, and then other computers can be part of the topology, or the same very computer can be a part of the topology. That is what I want to basically bring down to you. Let's see exactly for PC to router or PC to router, we will be using cross cables, because this is an exception. PC to router directly, if you are connecting, you will be using cross cable. Otherwise, straight cable is the one we are going to use, right? So simply just select that cable and then after that select now which cable I've selected, Ethernet cable. So that is why I am going to select the Ethernet port. No console port will be getting connected or auxiliary port. They look RJ45, they are RJ45, but we are only going to use the Ethernet port. So fast Ethernet 0/02, fast Ethernet 0/0. Your connection will be looking like this. Fast Ethernet 0/1, fast Ethernet 0/0. If you don't face if you are not able to see these port numbers after connecting, go to the option preferences and select this option, always show port label. This will show you the port label, and you can play around with this. I mean, you need to get very familiar with the packet tracer to know exactly what all things we can do on the packet tracer. So this is how you'll build one network. You can select, I mean, now you see exactly if I will be selecting one by one, then it will take very long time. So what I'm going to do, I am going to select control and then select the cable what I want to use. Now this time I don't need to go one by one. Like for connecting these devices I have to, but not again I have to select this. This is what you can say selected till the time, I mean I'm not through with my cabling. So whichever cable we are selecting, as of now switch is just you just remember this thing. By default switch, all ports are in one broadcast domain, right? So within the broadcast domain, within the network, we don't need to configure the switch if we are using the switch in between one network. We don't need to configure it as of now. Like when we'll reach to the switch level, then on that time I will explain you exactly what all things you can do and manipulate things according to your requirement. Very small network I am building, only require about few devices. And as far as port numbers are concerned, on switch I am not concerned about that. What I am concerned about is the router's interface, router's port number. I am only concerned about that part as of now, because we are working on the routers as of now. So you see exactly in some time this orange will also become green. It takes about 52 seconds. Some devices takes about the 17 seconds. But routers interfaces are not getting up. Reason why? Because routers interfaces are administratively down always, whereas switch basically works at what is the other end. If other end is working or other end is up, then it will also get up. Now routers interface is down, naturally the switch is basically waiting. If this goes up, this will also go up. Okay, so we have built up a network. Now we need to assign the IP addresses. So you can select any of the IP network, and then out of that network whatever IP schemes you want. Now see to it how many hosts we have. 1 2 3 4 5 6, and one router's interface also going to take the IP address. So in total 7 IP addresses. Can you calculate any kind of a private IP address in which you can get just the amount required IP address, or maybe little more, but then we are not wasting too much of an IP address? How many bits if you will keep in the host, and you will get about roughly about 7 IP addresses. सब गुल हो जाता है एकदम. टू टू पावर 3 minus 2 is 2 फॉर्मूला यही था ना, नंबर ऑफ नेट होस्ट. So how many bits should we keep in the host? 2 to power 4 minus 2 is equal to 14. 14 IP addresses we can get. If we use 3, then we are not fulfilling our requirement. It only gets 6 IP addresses. We need minimum 7 IP addresses. So what we can do is we can use, suppose 192.168.0.0. by default it is 24. If it is 24, how many IP addresses we are getting? 8 bits. 2 to power 8, because 8 bits are host. So 2 to power 8 minus 2 is how much? We are wasting a lot of IP addresses in case if we are using straightways this this network. So what we are going to do is we are going to shrink down this network only. We are going to subnet this thing and only use one subnet which is having limited amount of IP addresses. We can use this entirely, nothing will be wrong, but why to waste IP addresses? This will come handy as in, like, when you're practicing for the subnetting also. So what I'm indirectly helping you in terms of solving this is providing you the little bit of subnetting which you have probably got out of touch. So 192.168.0.0/28. What do you think about it? Because you calculated 4 bits we can keep it in the host. How many IP addresses we'll get? 14 IP addresses we can get. What will be the network ID? Network ID is this. What will be the broadcast IP address of this thing? Calculate it. /28. Calculate it. What will be the broadcast IP address? इतना प्रैक्टिस कराया. 192.168.0.1 28 bit value. 28 bit value. 28 bit value 16. Block size will be 16. 0 से start हो रहा है, 16 पर end होगा. 16 will be your next network ID. So an IP before is going to be. कितना टाइम लगा रहे हो? सब भूल गया एकदम. फटाफट आना चाहिए. ब्लॉक साइज के ऊपर फटाफट से नोट करा करो. मैं अब दोबारा रिपीट तो नहीं करा ना. नो 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 नो. So what we can do, we can provide an IP address something like this: 192.168.0.1/28 to this 192.168.0.2/28 0.3/28. अब इतना ही लिख रहा हूँ मैं, खाली पूरा तामझाम नहीं लिख रहा. 0.4/28 0.5 और हो गया ना. आ गई IP एड्रेसेस ना. ये तो हम लोगों ने अपने ईज़ ऑफ ऑपरेशन के लिए हम लोगों ने डिज़ाइन कर IP एड्रेसेस यहाँ पर रख लिए, बट कॉन्फ़िगर भी तो हम ही को करने पड़ेंगे IP एड्रेसेस. सो लेट्स स्टार्ट कॉन्फ़िगरिंग दी IP एड्रेसेस. वीडियो इज़ रनिंग, सो यू डोंट नीड टू बी वरीड अबाउट दिस पार्ट. लाइक यू हैव जस्ट सेट, like sitting in the class, so entire thing is being recorded, so don't worry about it. Okay, so end host. एक और प्रैक्टिकल मिक्स कर रहा हूँ इसके अंदर. दैट इज़ वी आर गोइंग टू बेसिकली डू some practicals about mixing things. First of all, IP address assignment हो गया था on the interfaces and everything. So we are moving towards DHCP configuration. We will also be doing in the same practical, we will also be doing telnet and SSH. In SSH we will be doing also, which is known as clear. So with this thing you have understood exactly. Now DHCP is basically going to provide the IP addresses to the end host. Later on we will also be doing one more practical, that is iOS backup, restore, and also password recovery. Password recovery is not technically a recovery, it's basically like people call it in the books also you have password recovery, but it is not recovery of the password. It is just bypassing the setup in such a way that it is not asking you the password and you're able to change the password and then get back to the basic setting again. You're not recovering the password. What you're doing is दूसरे रास्ते से जाकर पीछे से वापस आकर दरवाज़ा जो नहीं खोलने होते एग्जैक्टली कि आगे वाला दरवाज़ा नहीं खुल रहा तो पीछे से दरवाज़ा खोला, अंदर घुसे और अंदर से दरवाज़ा खोलकर. So it is not like you are basically getting the key. You're not getting the key, you are just changing the key technically. So it is because password recovery is for, if you really want the password recovery, you'll have to send the device to the Cisco. There is no other way. We can only do what we can, make shifts and get it to the situation where it basically bypass when you are asking, when it is asking for the password, it bypasses that step and gives you this straightways the console.